in nature, when the lion attacks a zebra, it is not practical to expect that lion or that beast to eat the zebra without eating the black stripes and the white stripes. That lion is going to eat the white stripes, yes, but it's also going to eat the black stripes. I say that to say this. Messenger Elijah Muhammad warned that we should not pray for the fall of America because it's going to catch many of our loved ones unawares, meaning that we are not a self-sufficient and independent nation in this nation yet. So the fall of America, the attack of America, is going to affect black people in the wilderness of North America also. So when you see a weak government, that's a threat to the nation of Islam. Malcolm X didn't get that, but politically, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad understood that social science. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad publicly explained to our people that the President of the United States of America is our president too. So it's really pathetic and sad to see that we have to choose between a big devil or a medium-sized devil or maybe some little devil. But we're always choosing between these devils for our livelihood. That's dangerous to the nation of Islam. That's dangerous to our future, because when the little fish swim underneath the big fish, when you see the little fish swimming under the big, huge whale, if you see that big whale get sick or that big whale gets injured and that big whale cannot feed itself, then those little fish is going to get scattered. Those little fish are going to suffer. Those little fish are going to have to eat off of the carcass of that big dying fish. But that dying fish attract other big fish that'll come eat those little fish. So we're going to find ourselves in a precarious situation in the future, you know. So you got President Trump, and Trump is Trump. I've never in my life been a Republican, and Biden is a Biden, and I never in my life been a Democrat, you know. I always considered myself a humanitarian. Politically, I always consider myself an independent, and I vote for whatever's in the best interest of me, my family, and my people. Now, I mean, politically, in 2024, it's like the Democrats just got a slight edge as far as black people are concerned. So, you know, I may not vote, but if I did vote, most likely I would have voted for a Democrat. Biden is an old man at the end of the day. Now, I mean, politically, it's things that I appreciate, certain things I don't like about Democrats. Now, I mean, but I've never been a fan of the Republican Party, but the Republicans got a lot of stuff right too. So I agree with the Republicans on certain things. So you got to look at the facts. You got to look at the reality. You got to look at what is in your interest. Now, I mean, maybe you have a sick family member, so your focus may be healthcare. Your focus may be the economy. Your focus may be the environment. Your focus may be justice, whatever it is. Now, I mean, you know, you vote your conscience. I would never tell you who to vote for, what have you. But I do have a serious problem with the Democrats trying to leave a senior citizen that may be a good man. He's definitely a smart man, definitely more qualified, more presidential than Trump, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, you can't take someone that's on the threshold of being senile and prop him up. Now, politically, President Obama is the de facto president. I mean, like, people don't realize he's the glue holding that whole Democratic Party together with a little help from Clinton. Now, I mean, so behind the scenes, he's considered like a shadow government. Now, I mean, but I want y'all to look at is if Biden steps down, in my personal opinion, he should definitely step down. You know what I mean? He should just get out, just fade to the back. He can help, he could keep teaching, but you go and let a younger person get up there and do the job or the work. male or female, black or white, you gotta definitely just like, let me get out the way. If you really about the supreme law of the land, upholding the Constitution and the safety of America and the prosperity of America and things of that nature there, don't let your ego come in and make it like it's all about the big I and the little you. It's about the we and us, about making things happen. What's best for the nation, what's best for the world. You know what I mean? So I want y'all to listen to this, and then I'm going to show y'all some alternatives of we in this country have some intelligent people that could run for president. Now, I mean, the Democratic Party might be a little chaotic for a minute, but politics is politics, and everything is politics. Let's listen to this report.
Eligible for what I've been able to do with with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Wow, the Biden debate debacle reverberating throughout the Democratic Party and also the country following his less than stellar performance on Thursday. Top Democrats are now questioning whether it is time for President Biden to step down from the Democratic ticket. And for more reaction on all of this, let's bring in New York Republican Congresswoman and member of the House Ways and Means Committee, Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, it's great to see you. Thank you.
Always great to see you, Rita.
You know, things really have gone from bad to worse for President Biden since the debate. He was trailing in many polls before the debate, and now the New York Times, of all places, their editorial board is calling for the president to drop out of the race, saying do it for the good of the country. Did we witness the nail in the coffin this week for President Biden?
Well, Rita, I first thought that as I was watching the debate, and within 15 minutes, I tweeted out that, okay, I see why we had this pre-convention debate set up. It was to give an excuse for the Democrats to get Joe Biden out. But the more I watched the reaction, of course, the media was horrified on the left-wing side, and the Democrats are scrambling. But I don't think they're going to take Joe Biden out right now, which is interesting. And I'll say for two reasons. Number one, they've got to drag Jill Biden's carcass out of the way, and they've got to step over Kamala to get there. And secondly, President Obama actually indicated that Joe should stay. And that was curious because guess who's probably really running the government? Obama and his team behind the scenes. They're the shadow government in the background, making sure everything goes. And when you look at a Soviet-style government or a machine politics-style government, which is what the Democrats have, it doesn't matter who they prop up in front. It's what they can do in the back. And as long as they can get Biden to sign off on some things and he's passable, that's what they're saying. But even President Obama said, look, everybody has a bad debate day. This was beyond a bad debate day, though, to me. This was a national security threat. Our enemies were watching this. It is very scary to me to think that even the shadow government and what's happening, our enemies aren't emboldened by watching that pathetic performance by Joe Biden the other night.
Yeah, and by the way, it doesn't seem like Joe Biden wants to go either, because when he was at the rally in North Carolina, he kind of equated himself almost to Rocky, like he got knocked down, but he's coming back up. What did you make of that?
You know, it's when he's got the teleprompter and they have the right cocktail of whatever kind of painkiller drugs or whatever he's taking to keep him alive. I think they didn't do a good job of that on the debate. His first 15 or 20 minutes in that debate were absolutely disastrous, as it's been shown over and over. But I think President Trump showed that he was sound on a lot of the issues. He was strong. He almost looked like, how can I be debating this guy? How can this guy be the president of the United States? And look at the policies that I put in place, which he set forth. And he was able, and actually what I thought was also interesting, Rita, is CNN was stunned. They shouldn't have been stunned. They all have been covering up Biden's condition. But what they were upset about is that the CNN moderators didn't push back enough on Trump. That's the job of the other person you're debating, not the media. And for once, the media actually was trying to be neutral on this, even though they thought they were setting up the perfect storm for Trump to be triggered and to make a mistake and to have a disaster somehow. Trump maintained his self-discipline, his composure, and stayed on the issues, which I think they weren't expecting. And Biden was no challenge for Trump. He was spitting out lies. And, even to a humorous point where he was talking about his golf swing and being a better golfer than President Trump, which is absurd. I've played golf with President Trump. I used to have a 7 handicap when I had time to golf. Look, Trump is an excellent golfer. And for someone his age, it's remarkable how well he plays and how well he did at the debate. And they're only just a couple of years apart.
By the way, I'm impressed now that I'm hearing about your handicap. Obviously, you are a woman who can do everything. I love this. You talked about also some of the lies. And Congresswoman, former President Trump and President Biden, well, they went head to head on a lot of different issues. And one of them, and this was a stunning moment, my jaw dropped when I heard this. It was about, of course, the controversial and truly disastrous pullout from Afghanistan by President Biden. I want to play the exchange and then get the reaction because, boy, it was a doozy.
When he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. And the truth is,
President Putin don't care who's the president of the United States of America. Gangsters do what gangsters do. I mean, but he's going to raise the point that former President Trump's ratings increased by 6% after the verdict, which shows that half the country in the United States of North America realizes that the judicial system can make a verdict that's contrary to the political verdict of the people or his supporters.
Результат, как мы полагаем, большого значения не имеет. Мы будем работать с любым президентом, которого изберет американский народ. После известного решения суда, где присяжные вынесли вердикт виновен, как мы знаем все, рейтинг господина Трампа вырос, по-моему, сразу на 6%. И сборы сразу увеличились в его предвыборный штаб. Но это же о чем это говорит? Это говорит о том, что люди в США не верят судебной системе, которая принимает такие решения, а наоборот, считают, что они приняты по политическим мотивам.
At this point, I want y'all to hear a little bit from the Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson. I'm not into the right or the left or any type of extremes. Now, I mean, our ancestors taught us about balance on my hat, or peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality. Now, I mean, but I want you to hear for yourself why this black man decided to be a Republican and what his position is in the political scheme of things.
It knows it. When we say that it's your money, you earned it, you worked for it, the government should not be picking your pocket. We are right. See, we are right. Too many of us are ashamed to be right, though. Some of us, we go to work and folks start talking about politics and start standing up saying, I think Joe Biden's doing a wonderful job. And he's a nice man because that President Trump is just mean. I just don't like the things that he says. He's just mean and arrogant, and he's a bully. If I hear that one more time, I am going to go crazy. This man is fighting. Let's list the people he's fighting. He's fighting almost the entire news media. He's fighting all the Democrats. He's fighting all the communists. He's fighting all the socialists. He's fighting all of our enemies across the ocean. And sadly, he's fighting half the Republicans. How is this man a bully? How is he a bully? You see, we hear that at work sometimes. Some of us are a little shy about stepping up, standing up, saying anything. People look at us and say, why are you a Republican? We say, well, my mom voted Republican. I like Ronald Reagan. I think he did a great job, and I like Reagan. And so that's why I'm a Republican. We shy away from the truth. We don't want to look at that person and say, well, wasn't it the Republican Party that was formed to stand up for the Republic? Not the democracy like you see played on the news every day. You see, them folks want a democracy. They want the mob to rule. They don't want this republic. And they don't want Republicans standing up for the republic. You're going to tell them that, yeah, wasn't it? Well, they say, well, the Republican Party is the party of old white men. It ain't coming off. And while we're on that subject, wasn't it the Republican Party that fought a war to free the slaves? How many Jim Crow laws were passed by Republicans? Wasn't it the Republicans who ended Jim Crow? Then you can take it even further and say, so you're a Democrat. Why are you a Democrat? You know the Democrats were the ones that were in favor of slavery. They were the ones in favor of the Confederacy. They were the ones that created Jim Crow. They are the ones that made the laws. And they are the ones that fought like hell to keep them. Until they found out a different way to enslave people. Instead of giving them welfare, instead of giving them slave shacks and shackles, they decided they were going to give them welfare checks and the ghetto. You see, there are truths that nobody wants to talk about. Not the news media, not the college professors. I'm getting excited up here, guys. Not the college professors. Nobody wants the front row. Y'all better watch out, bro. Woo! Spitting fire up here today. Y'all better watch out. Nobody wants to talk about it. But I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. And you should too. You should run and go tell the good news of why you're a Republican. You can take it all the way back to 1860 and bring it all the way up right now to 2020. You look at the states that are run by Republicans. Look at what Sarah Huckabee Sanders is doing in Arkansas. Look at what Glenn Youngkin is doing in Virginia. Look at what Ron DeSantis is doing in Florida and Greg Abbott is doing in Texas. Look at what the Republican legislature in North Carolina is doing and has done since 2010. And while we're on that subject, think about what North Carolina will do when Mark Robinson is the Republican governor. You see, there's a truth that's got to be told. Unfortunately, no one will tell it if you don't. No one will be bold enough to tell it if you're not. I speak about this all the time, and when I do, I try to do it without shedding tears, but it's hard for me to do it. Tell my wife I have two great dreams. One great dream exists on this side of the earth. The other dream exists on the other side. Dream on the other side is very dear to me. And people think that I hate people. I don't hate people. I hate actions. I hate actions that take advantage of people, destroy people's lives, and destroy and wreck nations. I hate the actions. I don't hate the people. One of my greatest dreams as a Christian is this. And I take it to heart, and when I say it, I mean it. You know, they tell me that when I die, if I do what God says on earth, He has reserved a mansion for me, many rooms. I think about that room that He made reserved for me. And I think about myself. And if that place is like anything like down here on earth, maybe people would come and visit me. You know who I want to come and visit me? Of course, I'd love to see the heroes of the faith come. My mother, my family, those that I love. But you know who else I want to see? I want to look out my window down in my driveway and see Nancy Pelosi come walking up. I'm serious. I want to see Joe Biden come walking up. I do. I do. I want to look down there and see my opponent, Josh Stein, come walking up. I want to look down there and see everybody who opposed me on earth, who called me an enemy on earth. I want to see them come walking up that driveway. You know why? Because it means they made it. Because they made it. Now, I don't want my opponent to make it to the governor's mansion, but I sure wouldn't mind if he made it to heaven. Because I don't hate anybody. Now, I want to see every single solitary person on this earth. I want to see their soul saved. Every single solitary person. And each and every one of us that calls ourselves a Christian should pray vehemently for their souls, that we would see them in heaven and forget about all this when we get up there. My second dream is this, and it's down here on earth. One day, years from now you look at them old photographs and you can tell what year they were taken. On an old photograph of me sitting up on somebody's shelf in a home somewhere. I don't know where it may be. Could be here, some other place. And I want somebody to pull that photograph down and look at it and say, who is this man? And I want one of my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, or great-grandchildren, right here in the United States of America, to take that picture, hold it up over their head and say, this is my grandfather. And I live in freedom today because he was man enough to stand up and give me the same kind of freedom that he grew up in.